What's up, guys? Welcome to another MarbleCast. Today I'm joined by Strength Coach Mike Dewar from J2 Fit Strength and Conditioning, the BarbellCEO.com, a writer for Barbell, and just an overall good weightlifter and a good dude for the USA weightlifting sport. We hope you enjoy this episode, so let's check it out. Big Mike, what's going on, man?
What's going on? How you doing?
Yeah. How the hell is Ohio?
Ohio is good, man. It's I've been here for 2 years now, after New York, and I like it. It's a good pace. I'm originally from Ohio, so it's good to be back. No complaints really. Just kind of living a slower lifestyle, but I was joking with my buddies here, and I think Ohio made me stronger. Once I got like the pickup truck, and the something in the water is a little different here.
There you go. You can start lifting big tires into that flatbed.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh, man, we got to get some Atlas stones, do some strongman work.
Yeah, well, when COVID hit, that was basically, I had a buddy of mine who's big with strongman and sandbags, and he got me going on that, so big fan of that.
So you do a little bit of everything, and for anybody who doesn't know who Mike Dewar is, he's a strength and conditioning specialist. He runs BarbellCEO.com, J2 Fit Strength and Conditioning. He's a writer for Barbell, is a strong dude, lifts a lot of weights, looks really good. He does it all. So give us a little bit of a...
Flattered.
Say it again?
I'm flattered.
Oh, yeah, well, of course. So give us a little background on what brought you to New York, where we sort of met, and what prompted the move back, and a little background on all of the things I guess I touched on.
Okay, yeah, so I guess everything started in Ohio. That's where I'm originally from. I studied exercise science, so the reason I got into that was a lot of just strength conditioning. Like, I played sports. I wanted to be in that environment at that higher level, so I studied it, and I was part of the strength conditioning at my undergrad for like my summer internship at Bowling Green. And it was an awesome experience, and what led me to New York was I wanted to pursue my master's. As well as, side note, at the time I was dating my now wife for about 6 months, and she was heading to New York. So, lo and behold, I had some offers for grad school in Ohio. The only school that had a program was Columbia in New York for exercise science, because like NYU didn't have one, and I wanted to be in the city if I was going. I somehow got in, and that was kind of, I took that opportunity for grad school, went out there with my girlfriend who's now my wife, and 10 years later, that's kind of where I've been. So when I was out there, I got into personal training, worked at big chains, and obviously in that world, a lot of people are coming to lose weight. They have the aesthetic goals, but having the background in strength conditioning, I also wanted to be able to offer them, whether they knew it or not. I wanted to get people stronger. I wanted to get people to move better, have some mobility, but do it in a way that they could have fun and they could use it outside of the gym. So that was kind of my way of taking the strength and conditioning with, we think of just athletes, to working that into how do I get the 50-year-old trader who comes in at 6 a.m. 4 days a week to just feel better, right? To be able to move with their kids. So a lot of the same kind of fundamentals that apply to athletes or injured athletes to the general pop. So that's kind of where my love for just like human movement, developing strength and power. Obviously, when we get stronger and more powerful, like we know that the body can adapt differently, and you start to see the visual effects of resistance training, what people typically go for when they're trying to get a physique. So, and then obviously, diet came along with that. So that was really kind of how I got started in the, I'll call it general pop.
Is your wife also in the exercise field?
No, she was in fashion, and,
okay.
And so she did that. I mean, she definitely works out. She enjoys it, just like I do. So
New York was a perfect fit for the both of you.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I never visited Columbia before. I never went to New York until the first day I showed up in day one of classes.
What were those first days like in New York?
I was 21. It was a little overwhelming at first, but I kind of knew it going into it. It was, I mean, I haven't been east of, I mean, I think growing up, maybe I went east of like Pennsylvania one time. So I never really, I mean, I've been to big cities, Chicago when I was younger, but I've never really been in that situation. So it was definitely more exciting than it was overwhelming, but there were still times, you know, I get lost on the train. I wind up like 5 stops deep and I don't know how to get back and it's late at night. So just different stuff like that. But yeah, it was cool. I mean, I was on campus at Columbia, so it was kind of its own little ecosystem.
Yeah.
But I also worked downtown in the Flatiron, so I got to travel a little bit around Manhattan. But I loved it, man. I miss it at times, and I miss the people. I miss the ability to walk out your door and just find a cool bar or something. So,
Dude, I still get lost in New York, so, and I'm from New York, so it's just it is what it is.
Yeah.
And how did you find weightlifting? Did you start in New York or Ohio?
So when I was in high school, it's kind of when I started my lifting journey, if you will. And I started in my high school had a pretty good program. So I was introduced to hang power snatches, hang power cleans from that young age. It wasn't as like formalized as it was more from a performance standpoint of just increasing force production and power, not like how to be technically. I mean, we knew technique, but nothing like where I am now. And then when I was out in New York, you get exposed to a lot of great different trainers, just people that I was running with, and honestly enough, it was through me getting into like CrossFit type workouts. And because I kind of gravitated towards the barbell already, just from my previous, I just really fell in love with the movements. But now being a little older and a little more understanding of movement and how things go, it's very, I'm a type A person, so I like the analytical side of things. I like looking at angles, looking at how can we individualize this to the different athlete, how can we improve technique. There's always something. So that was really, I would say 7 or 8 years ago is when I would say the shift happened where I was like, hey, this is something I want to really, go into and be my forte, if you will, or one of my fortes.
Yeah,
so
I joke around with everybody.
So that was probably about 24, 25.
I joke around with everybody. You start CrossFit, and then CrossFit gets too hard, so you become a weightlifter. And then weightlifting becomes too hard, so I just go to powerlifting because, fuck mobility.
Well, I joke around with some of my buddies because I say, I was weightlifting and I, it just got too hard. I couldn't get strong enough, and now I'm just like, screw it, I'm gonna play the physique game.
There you go.
So,
Yeah, so you do that look like you lift program.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's what I love bodybuilding. Like I grew up reading like the Muscle and Fitness, whether or not there was the right stuff, and obviously it's targeted a little differently, but the pumping iron, generation iron, all that stuff. I just love that energy of like the Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of golden days. And that was kind of how I got started into it. And when I got to weightlifting, I still did that stuff. And, I don't want to jinx myself, knock on wood. I really do feel that a lot of the accessory movements, and whatever it may be, the bodybuilding S-type stuff, I do think that does play a pivotal role in just muscle creation, which obviously the more muscle you have, yes, you have to kind of transition it to be a little more sport specific, but I think that it has a huge impact on just performance and longevity and staying healthy in the sport. At least from a personal standpoint, I'm 33, I'm not old, but I'm not young either, and I've been able to kind of navigate things. And I think, at the end of the day, I started doing a lot of that because, obviously I'm not like a super, super, super high level lifter like the people on the wall behind us. But I understood that there is an aesthetic. Like I like feeling a certain way, looking a certain way, and that's kind of where I got in there. And then I think there was a lot of people who felt the same way. And most weightlifters don't have to do a lot more. It's just a little bit more, and I think they'll find that they can fix some nagging injuries. And if they want to get bigger arms, it's not going to take that much more to just add a couple exercises in. So
yeah,
that was kind of the look like you lift.
I know I need to get on that program because I feel like I don't look like I lift at all, and I lift every goddamn day.
I see your videos. I see you out there.
I'm out there, but I don't look like it.
Well, you can lift. Maybe I just look like I can.
It's like we gotta have that. We gotta have a little bit of both. So I love it.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm working on the original.
So everybody just wants to build strength. They want to look good. They want to feel good. How did you get started with bar bend? Which came first, J2 Fit or bar bend?
J2 Fit came first. J2 Fit was just, I'm trying to think here, 2012. And it was, honestly, I just started a blog on like Blogspot, like the original Google blog. And I had a buddy who I went to undergrad with, and we kind of parted. I came to New York, and he actually enlisted after graduating. So he went in the Army, became a Ranger. But it was easy for us to keep in contact if I just uploaded workouts, right? Because instead of mailing back and forth, I just uploaded workouts on the internet, things that I did. We came up with different workout WOD names, and it was more of like CrossFit-ish style. It might be like some basic strength programming. So we really started writing that. We'd go back and forth and all that stuff. And one day I got a email or a comment, and I had in there I was in New York, and I got my first client. They just found it, liked the workouts, they've been doing it, and I got a client from it, and that was one of my first kind of client there. And then it just kind of snowballed, and I was like, hey, there's something to this. So J2 Fit was about 2012. I would say it became a business, like a real business, probably 2014, 15, when I was able to quit my other job and pursue it wholly. And then about 2 years later, I got approached by Barbell to do some writing for him. And before all that, I was writing for different publications. I was like with Breaking Muscle, I would like submit kind of anybody who is an author out there and they write online. Typically, you just submit an article to different sites. And I had like some kind of per diem contract work with some websites, but most of it was like, hey, I got this article, here's my pitch. But Barbell approached me to kind of come on board with them on a regular basis.
And they had just started when they were approaching people, right?
Yeah, I was kind of one of they approached me. I was kind of one of the original kind of writers on staff, or I guess, like on the contractors there. So I did that for probably 2 or 3 years. I mean, we definitely flooded the internet game with a lot of good content.
Yeah,
there was a lot of writing. I wrote every day for at least an hour, 90 minutes. Just content.
How did you come up with different ideas and different content? Did they give you ideas that they wanted you to write about, or did you come up with things on your own?
Yeah, so I had a little bit of free reign, a little bit of both. I think when writing, it's especially when you have so much to say, it's very easy to kind of just be off topic and just kind of hitting everywhere. So we would spend some time, like we had 5 days a week, so maybe I had like 1 or 2 op-ed pieces that I could write about things. So a lot of that was like the weightlifting, because at that time, that was when I was really loving weightlifting and reading a lot. So I wanted to put that out there. And then, we have a lot of exercise guides out there. So if you type in like bent over row on Google, it's probably going to come up. So we just started, there's a million exercises, and we just started just attacking like every exercise, all the big ones. We go down rabbit holes and then, go really in depth on them. We were taking that approach. So I had some editors there that were helping me out. So I would get my pitches, and then I might have 1 or 2 op-eds that I could do. So it was cool. It was enough structure that it wasn't overwhelming as a writer, but it was enough creative space to be able to have some fun with it.
Yeah, that's really a great way for you to get your name out with all your personal training and your online stuff too. So that was a really great opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I didn't even think about that. I was just so stoked to be part of.
Right.
I mean, they showed me the vision, and I was like, man, Barbell is gonna be, up here. I love it. And then, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it's definitely helped on my end. Being able to build out the online presence and the YouTube and all that stuff. So it's been a cool experience.
Yeah. How you do a lot of your stuff primarily online now, since now you're not in you're in Ohio,
Yeah,
so you're mostly online. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yep. Yeah, I would say, well, so COVID kind of changed things.
Everything, yeah.
And so in Ohio, pre-COVID, I was here for about a year. So realistically, the first like 8 months, things just moved slower. Like when we were in New York, I mean, you live there, there's always things turning. There's always like clientele bouncing around, things move. It was it's a smaller pool here. and there was a lot of people already in the market. So it took some time, and it took me a while to kind of get on my feet, and I had a little bit of presence online or clientele. So we got that built up, and then COVID hit, and it just kind of came back down. But through that, I took COVID hit last March. I kind of was like, okay, we got a couple months here to figure this out. So that's why I really leaned heavily into like the online. Like I put a lot more content out on my own channels. I just let people know like I was out there, I'm coaching. We're all now kind of faced to do this online. So I was trying to find a way to coach more effectively online, whether that's, doing more calls like this, whether that's putting out more content, whether that's, I use different apps to be able to analyze lifts and have feedback from my lifters. So really just trying to build that out there. And then now I have all that still, but I would say, I'm still in the gym every day. I do love being in the gym, working in person. But instead of doing 8 to 10 hour days, I'm in the morning, 7 to 10 in the morning, Monday to Thursday. And then, I'm Monday and Wednesday evenings from like 4 to 7. I don't work Tuesday evenings, don't work Thursday evenings, and I don't work the weekends.
Nice.
So I would say it's probably 50-50 now instead of like 90-10.
Yeah, and the in-person to online is such a different experience. So how did you how do you make that adjustment when you're watching somebody online and you have just like a weird angle or they're in a garage? Like how do you deal with that as a coach to an athlete?
Yeah, so I think it's definitely I'm smiling because I'm when it all happened and before I kind of figured it out, it was so frustrating, not only for me as a coach, but as for the client because they're trying to like figure it out. So I think, for example, most of my lifts, I like having like an angle, like a 45-degree angle, so I can kind of see the best of both worlds. I've had clients who, it took some time, and then I finally like just ordered a tripod for them. I was just like, put that tripod, put an X on your floor. I ordered it for him. It was like $30, and I was like, cause I don't want to deal with this anymore.
Yeah.
Others, so it took some time, and I think it's just, you gotta just be patient. But if you're already having those issues, for anybody listening, like just be upfront with your client and be like, hey, we got to figure this out because we're both going to benefit from this. And I think sometimes it was easiest just me dropping $30 and just taking the initiative to be like, here's a tripod. We're going to spend 5 minutes setting this thing up and leave it there for the rest of your sessions.
Yeah, I was just thinking
that was probably the quickest way that I was able to get rid of a lot of headaches.
It's like, here's this thing, just put it there. I was just thinking that, just buy them a tripod. Because the people, I tried to do it at the beginning of the pandemic or whenever this is, and these guys would put a phone up, it would fall down, I can't see anything, they would step out of frame. I'm like, I have no idea what you're doing. No idea.
Yeah, and I think some of it was maybe lack of communication on my part, but also maybe some of it was they just were kind of like not caring enough because they were just like, whatever. Because I have clients who just don't, and even like programming, they might not send all their videos, and I'm like, guys, like I'm not a robot. Like I want to know what you're doing. And then another one was like I have a phone case here, and like so all my videos on Instagram, it's got a magnet in here, so I can like stick it to squat racks. Or I'll like MacGyver something and put it down on a bench and stick it to something. So a couple of my clients were doing that. I think just people being creative, like your shoe on a bench can be a great tripod. It's just you gotta kind of
stick it in the shoe.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So now you're doing this online stuff. What's the next step for you? How is Ohio with regulations and stuff? Are you able to? You're in a gym most of the time now. Right.
Yeah, I mean we're operating. I mean, knock on wood, things have been very smooth. So I think for me, I enjoy. I think it really kind of depends on the stage of life that we're in. At some point, as we decide to take the next step in the family, it's like I want to be able to create a schedule that's going to fit with that. And obviously, like I don't like right now. I get up at 5:30 every day. I hop online for a call at 6 with a client, then I head to the gym. So, I mean, right now I'm kind of like loving the space I'm in. I'm definitely trying to continue to grow the online presence, more from a fact of I think that's where things are going. And I think if somebody's listening to this and, history has taught us that we should probably learn from it. So if we get faced again where a gym shuts down or something happens, just having a diversification in your streams of income, is going to help you. And it's also going to offer you flexibility to be able to make decisions. Do I want to work on a Saturday morning, or can I build out an online presence or clientele that maybe I can work on my time instead of having to go in there and do it? So I'm kind of just in a spot right now. I'm really enjoying where it's at. I'd like to grow kind of everything organically. And the cool thing is weightlifting is obviously big in Ohio. I mean, it's big everywhere. But at the local level, I'm slowly now getting, it's getting people searching on Google, and I'm coming up, and I'm getting more people directly, hey, I want to learn Olympic weightlifting, or hey, I want to compete. So it just took some time to build that inertia, and having the other things allowed me to kind of wait long enough for that wave to come. So it's finally starting to come, which has been a cool experience in the past 6 months.
Are you going to train for future competitions?
Yeah, there is a local competition down here, just kind of like a local one. I'm not quite sure with like USA Weightlifting. I mean, I know they release, so I have a couple online athletes who are still, national level. We were supposed to go to Atlanta in December, and that all got pushed back. So as of now, I think they said Vancouver, right? I think December or something. I think there's one in Vancouver or Calgary, and then I think Denver's another one for USA Weightlifting, one of the national meets. So
isn't it weird that they made the North American Open Series with Canada, but we can't cross the border? It's like a big issue.
It is. So I'm hoping by that time we can, right? Because if not, that's going to be ironic. But as of now, so a lot of that for training, I think right now, I know that there's competitions happening, but I'm kind of like, we're kind of at that period, like we can just hold out, figure out what's going on here. I know a lot of people are getting vaccinated. It's like we can get this period, we can train hard in the gym, and then approach the fall and winter, hopefully, and be able to compete on a big stage. So I think the biggest challenge right now is just keeping the athletes engaged. Like typically we can like use tune-up meets throughout to kind of gauge ourselves and see where we're at. So, and it's also hard because I would also sometimes fly out for those, so I'd be able to kind of check the morale and make sure everyone's doing good at those meets. So it's been a little more challenging to do that because it's been over a year now. I think the Arnold in Columbus, that was the last meet that I went to with all our athletes, and that almost didn't happen. So
wasn't it fun though that nobody was there? Kind of sucked, but it was also kind of like, this is great.
Yeah, like it was. I had a great meet. I know my lifters did. And it was enough people there that you could still have the energy, but it wasn't like, overwhelmingly crazy. The expo didn't happen, but it was good. I know some lifters like that I have like loved it because they did not want to be like on stage with hundreds of people screaming at them. So it was cool, but yeah, sometimes it's different with the onlines. There's the online meet. I forget which one.
They did the
nationals like over the summer.
They did the AO finals online.
Finals, yeah.
They did that one. I don't know what happened with nationals. I think they did that online also. We did Masters nationals online.
Oh, yeah, it was the Atlanta meet was online.
Yeah.
That was December. So I lifted in that. That was difficult, I felt, because that particular lifter is a competitor, and he thrives off of that environment. Like the stage, the pressure, like everything about that, he elevates to like a different level. And he was able to kind of get there, but we've all lifted in a gym, and we've all lifted in person with people screaming. It's a different thing. So I think it was cool to do it, but I'm hoping that we can definitely get back to in-person stuff.
Yeah, for sure, because the online things are weird. We had the online, one of them, I don't remember what it was, but I think it was the second AO, I think. They did the second AO online, and the Zoom link didn't work at one point, or they didn't turn the video on, so one of my lifters had to do it twice within a minute. and it's just like too many variables could go wrong, and it's not the same at all, like you're saying.
Yeah.
So it's you're basically in the gym, and it's like, okay, you're up, go now, okay, all right, I think I went. Do I put it down? It's very weird.
I will say it moved. I only had the experience with the finals, and it moved very quickly from like an athlete standpoint. I mean, he was like, "Whoa, I had like no rest period." So I think they did a really good. In that one, there was no technical issues. I was surprised at how smooth it went. It just went so smooth that it was so fast. You're maxing
because there's
out
no
in, like,
changing weights.
Yeah. And
Yes, because like your weights are already ready. How did they do that though? Did they give you extra time for like a weight change, or was it just all right? You got your weight on the bar.
It was still the same clocks. It's just think about all the time and stoppage between, like, if I hit a lift, like in an actual meet, I hit a lift and then we go up 3 kilo and they got to come out and change the big plates out and tighten things up and then center the bar and sit down and then wave you out, right? That might be 45 to a minute, and then you actually have your minute,
Right.
And they extrapolate that across the whole session. So it basically what they would do is it'd be like, I'm lifting 100, you're lifting 101. I put my weight down. All right, Joe, your clock starts.
Yeah.
You should already have it weighted. So it's, and then if I'm after you, and you hit it, and say I went to 102, well, I'm up again.
Yeah.
And maybe you took, you went in your first 15 seconds. I'm like, well, shoot, I got like literally 40 seconds after I just came off stage. So it was a little wild.
Yeah. See, I would do well with that because I don't take long breaks. If I get a 2-minute clock, I'm back up there in a minute.
I don't either, but this lifter, he likes
needed time.
Enjoys his breaks.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to get in, get out. I like to get it done quick.
Yeah.
I don't even set up. I just grab the bar and rip it off the floor, and I'm in. That's it.
Yeah, there was one point he.
Hold on. Hang on one second.
And technically, then he's not following himself. And then
hold on. I kind of lost all that audio. I'm sorry about that. I had a phone call. I don't know where you started.
So it happened at one point. It was like when my lifter came out, he missed it. The person after him, I think, like, had the same weight, came out and hit it, like, immediately, like did you, like, walked on stage, boom, hit it, put it down. And then they turned the clock over, and it was my lifter's turn again to repeat himself. And I think that whole span of him missing the lift, the other person, and then him walking and his clock starting was maybe like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And we're talking like second and third attempt clean and jerk. So we were like, and we were later in the session, so we were like, okay, do we just nudge him up a kilo, right? But like that doesn't necessarily buy us any time because it's just us putting one more kilo on. So it's not, So it was interesting, but again, it's better than not having it. And I think I'm just excited, hopefully, for things to open back up.
What do you think that USAW could do? Do it better with these meets, if anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I will say I think they've done a really good job of just everything in general. I think I don't know because I don't know the technical logistics of it.
It's hard.
It is hard, especially these big national meets because there's more governing bodies with their hands in the pot. I think I will say I have noticed in the past like 6 to 8 months they've been much more active on social media. Yeah. They've been interacting and answering questions, and I think that's been awesome just for lifters to figure out what the heck's going on. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough because I don't necessarily know if I have the answers either. I think this might just be the best it can be until, because like connectivity issues, it might be like my internet's crappy,
Right.
So yeah.
Do you use the USA Weightlifting website? I'm assuming for
Yep.
Now they have this bars program or whatever they're doing. How do you feel about that?
I guess as opposed to what it was prior.
Yes.
Yeah, but. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't. Well, it's not bad. I haven't been on it in like 6 months, just because I'm like just kind of holding steady. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's. I mean, I think it's like probably the best it's gonna get. compared to what we had.
I don't know. What
But
we had, I thought, was way better. I was able to
I don't
look
remember,
up
I don't remember what
competitions.
we had.
I was able to look up competitions, find them relatively easily. I was able to set up competitions relatively easily, set up level ones. And with this, it's so overly complicated. And then when I have to do my safe sport training, you can't just click it. You have to go find it. It's really weird. And if you're not on it all the time, you don't know where anything is. It's very frustrating.
I do agree with that. A lot of my certs, right, because obviously, like, some of them lapsed because I just wasn't on in 6 months because so going back and trying to be like, why can't I register for this meet? And it's like, well, you have all these things you need to do. And I'm like, okay, I'll watch all these videos and I'll take the test.
Oh, shit. I had another phone call, so I missed that last part. But yeah.
All good.
Yeah, you gotta take all these
I
stupid
agree
tests.
with you on some of that stuff, like the finding. A lot for me is just finding like you said, the safe sport, getting all that, and it's because they'll say like, hey, you have stuff you need to fill out. I'm like, where do I find it?
Right, where is it? It frustrates me, man. When I have to get one of my older athletes, Marcy, she just comes to me. She's like, they sent me this thing. I have no idea what it is. And then it takes me a half hour to figure it out because I don't know what the hell's going on. And now they have, they're trying to incorporate for gyms a gym management software, Reps. If it works like bars, I don't want anything to do with it. Cause
what is that? Gym management? Huh.
So like you could do registration, you can take membership. They're basically trying to develop a software so that weightlifting gyms, I think, will make it easier for them to incorporate USA weightlifting within their program.
I guess it would kind of be like how CrossFit gyms use WODHopper.
Yeah, WODHopper. We use WODHopper, Zen Planner. I guess it's kind of like that.
Okay.
So I guess they're trying to get more barbell clubs to grow and establish themselves and maybe make it an easier process for the athlete to sign up with the gym through the USA weightlifting, I guess. I mean, it sounds good in theory, but if you already use stuff, like do you use Train Heroic?
I use so I have Train Heroic for a lot of the online stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'll use for the business in-person membership work. It's all like Zen Planner.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. I'd like if I have some first-time lifters who want to join. Yeah, I guess in the past they would just have to go to the website. They'd set up their account and they'd log on and do it. Where here it's like they have to set up bars up and then they got to navigate within bars, get their fees, then find it. It's just like, man, so I get that, but yeah, I guess that's kind of like, what are you gonna do?
Not use that is what I'm not gonna do. So I end up by the time this airs, the competition will already be done. But we have a competition this weekend, and the way I had to sign up through USA Weightlifting, they wouldn't. I don't know if they wouldn't let me, or I really was very confused by the process. I had to use them to sign people, to register people, but I didn't want to, and I didn't have the option to negate that. So I just put a website link on top, but then people signed up through them, so it's very confusing. Yeah, very weird. Not a fan.
Oh, because you're hosting one.
Yes, we're hosting one this weekend, or by the time this comes out, it'll have happened already.
Yeah, I haven't hosted yet. I'm like, that's a thing. I gotta look. When I was in New York, we tried to do an event, and I tried to get it USAW sanctioned. And there's just certain things you have to have, like equipment or making sure the spacing or regulatory, which I get. And we just didn't have it at that time.
Where were you?
In New York this one was at CrossFit Union Square, but like we didn't have the platforms weren't like regulation size.
Right. So you didn't have space to just build one?
Well, we did, but then we would have had maybe I misread it, but at that time we had to have like somebody who was like a national level or like a judge kind of come in and like check it off and say it's good. Unless I had misunderstood. This was like 5 or 6 years ago. And I didn't have like my judge's course or anything like that.
Well, that's easy. That's like free.
Yeah,
just go take it.
But at the time, I was just totally unaware of it.
Right.
And that was kind of right when I was getting started. I was like, yeah, let's do a meet.
Yeah.
More like an in-house. But out here, I'd like to get that going. But it's like trying to just have that space, and then you have to have a certain area for spectators and make sure it's X amount of far. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to get into that. We could, but I don't want to. But yeah, so the weightlifting stuff. Hold on. This is the bad thing about using my phone is I get interrupted with text messages and phone calls. So running a weightlifting competition really isn't that bad. You just have to have the judges in place. So I have like 8 judges I have to pull from. Most of them are competing. So after they compete, they have to turn around and sit in a chair, which they're fine with. But it's the early sessions that I have the issues with. Make sure the judge is certified for weigh-ins. So that one, we need that. People at the table. I just went to Home Depot. That's why I was doing all the maintenance for this weekend because we got holes in the roof from so the rain leaks in. It's a big pain in the ass. So we have to fix that because they're right over platforms. So Sunday it's supposed to rain. Yeah. And I'm like, if it rains on these people, then I can't use that platform. And it's already a tight warm-up room. And you know as well as I do that the warm-up rooms are constantly chaotic. So I don't want to make it more chaotic.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of setup, but it's kind of fun because once everything gets rolling, and we use this website, oliftia.com, to run it. So everything usually runs pretty smooth. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would think the more you do it, like anything, it probably you work the kinks out to where you're like, okay, you're a finely tuned machine. So.
Well, this is our 4th one. My biggest problem is I want somebody to MC the event and do it well, and that's my biggest problem because nobody's gonna do it the way I do it, but I have to watch 15 lifters, so I can't do it. So I'm trying to find somebody who has a little bit of a personality and knows weightlifting to talk it up instead of just going, Mike Dewar, first attempt, 105 kilos.
Yeah, right.
It's already boring. We have to entertain people a little bit.
Yeah, because I've been at some meets and there's some funny entertainers, and it's like they just add a little bit of pizzazz.
Yeah.
Weightlifting meets can be a little dry at times.
Yeah.
So sometimes they can add just enough comedic relief to kind of ease the tension from the room.
Yeah, because weightlifting's a boring sport, and if you don't know weightlifting and you're not in the sport, you're really not interested. You're only there because your friend said, hey, I'm doing this competition thing. Do you want to come? And then you show up and you're like, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. I had a client this morning and she was like having her test outs. And she hit a PR and I was like, slam the bar. and she like kind of slammed it. Kind of. And I ended up showing her videos of John North.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a bar slam. And I kind of gave her the whole briefing and background, and she's like, wow, I never knew. That's so awesome. I'm like, yeah, back in the day, that was. I mean, it's now a little more loosened up, but it was just funny to see.
He got in trouble for doing that. Isn't that right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, but heck, man, I could watch those videos all day.
Dude, the Cal Strength videos on YouTube all day.
Yeah, him and Donnie Shank were going after it.
Yeah, they're having a seminar next month down in Florida.
Really?
Oh yeah, I got a couple lifters going to it.
That'd be cool. You have to do a post seminar recap on that.
Yeah, I'll have him in here. We'll talk about it. Hey, John's good. It should be a good time. All right, brother. Talk to me about this Barbell CEO thing that you got going on.
Yeah, so it started as kind of just my pen name, if you will. I just kind of like set it up as when I get writing jobs and gigs, like that's kind of where it all kind of comes through. And then I think it when I originally started it, I was like, own your life, your business, but it's kind of targeted towards trainers or people trying to figure that out, because as a trainer, at least in my early days, I wasn't like on point with all my business stuff. Not to say I am now, but just like learning, like a lot of trainers, like they think the world's in the gym, but it's like, hey, how are your finances? What are you doing for the future? How are you looking at your business models? How are you going to scale this successful thing? And having those conversations, I was fortunate enough to be around people who taught me that, or at least started me thinking about that. So that was kind of the formation of the Barbell CEO, and it kind of began just as a blog, like me kind of, I can't write about, financial security and like ways that trainers can diversify their income on other websites, right? So I was like, screw it, I'm gonna do it here. And it's kind of like evolved around and bounced around to where now it's just like, I think there's so much going on with my own business and kind of things that it's just kind of hanging out. I do get people who kind of just reach out from time to time asking just more general questions. Hey, I'm a trader, I'm trying to like XYZ, how would you navigate this? But I don't really have like a business model formation around it. Right now it's just kind of like a content presence, and then, somewhat of a community geared towards like people in the fitness space who maybe, are very passionate about it, or coaches who want to either learn more about coaching or maybe learn how to not work weekends, different stuff like that. So more of the life behind a trainer or a strength coach.
Like time management and building.
Yeah, just different stuff, or honestly, just it's nice to kind of like have conversations with other people. And that's kind of been that was the online, and then now the podcast is really just trying to like have those conversations, right?
Yeah.
So having conversations with athletes, hey, what does it take to get to your level? Kind of put people in a human light, so we can kind of have these conversations just like me and you are having now. So that was kind of my idea behind it, was I want to talk to this person because I find them interesting. I think everyone has something to say, so that's just kind of what the podcast evolved into. And it's kind of a wide array of topics.
That's kind of what I'm doing here, man. Just talking to people I find interesting, people that I've met over the years that I think have done some great things within the sport or within their sport. And we just have these conversations and talk about the history of it and where we're going with it.
Yeah.
So, all right, brother. Well, I want to thank you for coming on. This is great.
Yeah, no, it was great catching up with you, and I appreciate having me on here.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. Spending your time.
Man, keep it up. I love the grind and the hustle on the podcast here.
Yeah, man. You guys make sure you check out Mike Dewar on Instagram, all his social medias. All of his information is going to be on the screen. You'll see it. Check out the barbellceo.com, and if you guys need any online training, hit him up. Ask him some questions. He's got a lot of knowledge. So, Mike, thank you so much for coming on.
Cool. Thanks, Joe.
And as always, guys, age is inevitable. Weakness is not. So get out there and lift some shit, guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching today's MarbleCast. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any content. Check out our Spreadshirt shop to grab some swag. And if you would like to support the MarbleCast, please head over to anchor.fm. All of the links are in the description, and it helps us out to keep the channel running. Thanks so much, guys. See you next time.